Welcome back to America's Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Bull. This segment is brought to you by Commercial Agent Success Strategies. Check it out. It is commercial agent training. It's videos, it's audio. It's pretty incredible. People are saying their agents are really performing a lot better. If you want to see the website, it's commercialagentsuccess.com. Well, today we're talking about commercial real estate resources for principals, for brokers, for everyone in the industry. Please welcome my next guest. It's Ryan Marseillo, and he's co-founder and chief strategy officer with View the Space. Some people may know them as VTS, and he's joining us on the phone. Ryan, thanks for being with us, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. How you doing?
Good, good. Thank you. So, first of all, a lot of my listeners may be familiar with you guys. You've been around since 2012, but you certainly have evolved a lot, and your company's continuing to evolve with new products. To just give us the first overview, Ryan, who is the best, your product, VTS, who is it best designed for? Who can benefit from it, and what does it do?
Yeah, so the way that we think about the product is that it really does benefit anyone as of today that is sitting in the landlord, investor, or brokerage seat. And when I say broker, mainly today it's on the agency leasing side. And from the early beginnings of product development, it was all about how do those three constituents manage information, interact, and ultimately report on the various things that are happening throughout their portfolio. So for now, those are the people that we've been most focused on, although I think we'll talk a little bit about how that's going to change later this year.
Okay, so if you're an asset manager, you own office properties, retail or industrial, and you're trying to manage the leases, when the leases are coming up, when they expire, what are the rents, and then you've got in-house or maybe a broker, agency broker representing you, handling that leasing, this system will help kind of streamline all of that?
Yeah, exactly. So it's taking a process that was previously either being managed on Excel or through multiple Excel documents, various different phone calls, or information that was being stored on sort of antiquated systems that an asset manager or an agent would never actually log into, and pulling all that into one system, one modern system that's cloud-based, mobile-enabled, that enables them to do that job in real time with a lot more efficiency.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, I'm handling a one building personally, office building, and I'm doing the leasing. And yeah, it's the communication on the existing tenants and when their leases come up and when their options are coming up. And then also just the coordination between all the prospective tenants and things we're dealing with. It's really nice to have that in a more organized, streamlined fashion. And I guess it's available on mobile access as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the things that we knew would actually be mandatory in order for the product to be successful, was having a really robust mobile experience. Really with the idea that, commercial real estate agents are probably the most mobile workforce on the planet, but having, no mobile technology to actually support them while they're away from their desk. So, as somebody that used to represent a lot of the big owners in Manhattan, I might go the entire day without getting back to my desk. So not actually having the ability to log a tour or real-time feedback as I was going through a building and update my owner or my teams was a real frustration. And then essentially what that led to was me not doing that maybe for the next couple of days or even the next week. So the sort of underlying information quality to the landlord would ultimately suffer.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, if your client doesn't hear from you, sometimes they think you're not doing anything, and that's not good. So you were an office broker, right, doing a lot of leases in Manhattan, and your co-founder was too. So your original concept was based around the office market and also around really marketing that space, and the videos and that sort of thing was the origin, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And just to give you a little background there, the vision for VTS has been the same since day one, and I think that the approach that we took to execute against that vision and really around the idea that we can get technology could be fully ingrained in the workflow of both owners and brokers, we knew that we would have to start with something that for us would generate revenue. So something that would play into sort of the marketing side of things, and that would really benefit both the owner and ultimately the tenant rep broker. So in 2012, vacancy rates were basically at an all-time high, and so as an owner, you wanted nothing more than to bring more visibility to your spaces or your assets. And as a tenant rep broker, it couldn't have been more frustrating to have to do a tour of, or to have to do a survey at Midtown Manhattan, have 100 different availabilities to call through, 90% of which didn't have any visual assets, and then try to sort of guess which ones you should take your tenant to. So we felt like this was a win-win for both sides, and like I said, a great way to sort of introduce technology into an industry that wasn't exactly supporting the use of technology at the time.
And it sounds like, Ryan, that your software is fantastic for kind of the enterprise size, the larger landlords who have a lot of properties and things. It seems like it make it very convenient. But who else is a potential client for your products? Is it also some of the smaller landlords as well?
Yeah. So an interesting stat that that most people don't know that I think is the average customer on VTS has around 5 buildings. So while we talk a lot about the larger enterprise customers that have buildings spread out across the country or the world, a big portion of our customer base are people that are sitting in local markets with anywhere from 1 to 5 assets that candidly have a different need for the product, if that makes sense. So for the large portfolios, it's about really keeping a pulse on lots of different things that are happening. And for some of the smaller owners that take a lot of pride in understanding their assets and spending sort of time with their tenants, they think about the product as their way to get even closer to the asset or to make sure that they continue to manage it with a high touch as their teams change, as their tenants turn over. And so, you see really both ends of the market getting a lot of value from the product. And that's something that we continue to invest heavily in. For us, in order to get to where we're going, it has to work for landlords and agents, both big and small.
And Ryan, are some of your landlord clients some of the names that we might recognize?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I like to describe it is, we've been really lucky in that we developed some phenomenal relationships early on with some of the largest players in the world. So the Brookfields, the Blackstones of the world, down to the local market power players. So, for example, in New York, people like the Durst organization, the Rudins, and then even, taking it a step downstream to somebody like Sage, who owns, I think 4 or 5 buildings in Manhattan. And so it runs like I said, it runs the gamut. But I think, big and small, they certainly are all the names that you would know. Okay.
And what's going on with your company these days? You guys just have another round of investors, and kind of what's in your future?
Yeah, so really exciting. So we just announced our Series D. It was a $90 million round led by Brookfield Ventures, and it was the entire round was strategic. So what that means is that our customers that have developed really good relationships with us have been pushing us really hard to help our company and product move faster. And so outside of Brookfield Ventures, it was Tishman Speyer, Oxford, GLP, who was the largest owner of industrial space in the U.S. They just got bought by Blackstone. And so what all those people were really excited about were 2 key concepts. One is the opportunity to, for the first time, understand market performance in real time. And so that's a product that we call Market View that we're rolling out to hopefully at least 3 to 5 markets in the U.S. this year, which will essentially enable an owner with a building in a submarket to understand how a proposal that he or she is negotiating in real time compares to other proposals that are currently being negotiated in similar buildings, whether or not they're getting the same amount of tours. So we're introducing a new concept, which is tours per available space. even to at the macro level, understanding how are the leases that are expiring in my portfolio over the next 10 years, how does that compare to the exposure in the overall market or submarket, and what are the expiring rents?
But obviously it's not the exact buildings and addresses, it's anonymous, right?
It's anonymous, yeah.
Right. So it's a little bit like revenue management people might think of for the hotel industry, the apartment industry, that you kind of can get a little bit better view of the market and your competition.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the things that I think our customer base, especially the larger institutional customers, have been really frustrated by, because if they did own one or many hotels or one or many multifamily buildings, they know that there's products out there that enable them to actually do that, which, as you can imagine, becomes the way that they strategize around the positioning of their buildings. So it's been a real frustration for them in the commercial side, which is why they've been so excited to help us move that forward.
And before I let you go, you also have another product coming out that'll actually be a place the public can go and see office space and look at it, right? Yeah,
so that product is called Truva. And really, this is our big push to essentially bring both the tenants and tenant rep brokers into our platform and connecting them with landlords and their agents to streamline sort of the entire process from discovering new available spaces to the way that they'll ultimately transact. So, think about it, hopefully early next year, and then we're launching with this product in New York. As a tenant, you'll be able to find space on VTS. Your tenant rep broker or you specifically, depending on the size of the space, will be able to submit a proposal directly through our platform. And rather than pushing paper and multiple versions of proposals back and forth, all of that will happen through our platform in a much more streamlined fashion, where everybody sort of stays connected in one collaborative process.
Boy, it sounds a lot more organized and and a lot more efficient, right? And that's the key, right? To make it more efficient so everyone can do business a little better and faster and economically.
That's the plan.
Yeah. All right, and the website's going to be truva.com, right?
That's correct, truva.com.
Okay. All right, excellent. Well, Ryan, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. You guys are doing great things, and thanks for being on the show.
All right, thanks for having me. Have a great day.
And if you'd like more information, check out their website. It's VTS, View the Space, VTS.com. And thanks for joining us today. We're going to have another show like this. It's going to be Commercial Real Estate Resources 2. This is show number 1, so check that out. And thanks for joining us today. Until next week, please always lead, learn, and laugh, and join us for America's Commercial Real Estate Show. America's Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you by Bull Realty. For customized asset and occupancy solutions, visit bullrealty.com. Commercial Agent Success Strategies. Incredible training for commercial agents. Visit commercialagentsuccess.com. Red IQ. Turning multifamily data into actionable intelligence. Visit rediq.com.